Hello everyone, welcome to a new video on the channel. This is going to be kind of the first type of, I wouldn't say negative, but the first type of pitfall we'll have on the channel, where we had an amazing beginning of the week where we were up around 8k, 8 to 10k. I believe it was 10k over both Top Step and FTMO. And now we're down all of it, basically back to break even, back to beginning of both of the accounts. Which isn't the best position to be in. I've honestly, even though I believe I'm meant to feel more down about it, but honestly, I'm actually quite happy that it happened in that way. Because that's the thing with quick success. Quick success is great because I did map everything that I did to actually make that 10k. But I didn't have a pure system or strategy into when to enter trades, when to actually, you know, be in the market and when to be outside the market. So I was always constantly looking for that 10k day again, which is where I had the issue. And there was a lot of other stuff as well, like not trading at the right time, like looking at the different time zones and looking at the different sessions when the best sessions are for my sort of strategy. All these type of things I only learned towards the end of the week when I lost all of that. When I see the trade isn't going my way, not letting my ego get in the way of not going break even and just moving on with the next setup if it doesn't go my way. Things like that. So there was a lot that was learned from last week, both in a positive and negative. But we do have a new strategy that I'm going to be implementing that I've been back testing, as you can see right here as well. In terms of back testing, just going back and forth. We're not going to go anywhere more than like a 1 to 3. I'll say that's even a lot. We're looking at 1 to 2s more likely over the next week. Like I said, we want to be funded on FTMO as soon as possible, but I believe even more than that is like you want to have a consistent strategy. Whereas I want it to be set at 1 to 2 risk reward ratio, but then at the same time, with that 1 to 2, every time I win a trade, I will take another trade, and then if I lose the next trade, I'll be done for the day. So, say for example, I go for 1 to 2, risk 1k to make 2k, and I win, and I'll find another setup and risk 1k to make 2k. And if that doesn't go the right way, then I would stop trading for the day, which means I'm still up, like 2k, maybe even 3k if it's like a 1 to 3. So I am stuck on the 1 to 2. I think I've seen that's the most I've seen in terms of actually the strategy working out well. 1 to 2, 1 to 1. I've seen 1 to 3 work out well, but I think that I just need more consistency, man. Honestly, I need a lot more consistency. And when it comes to like even like, for example, gold is like to get the consistency I need to have those sort of 1 to 2s, 1 to 1s, 1 to 2.5 maxes to actually get that consistency. Of course, as you can see, gold does move quite a lot, which is good. But for me to get those 1 to 3s, that means I'll have to be having like a much tighter stop loss. You know, let's just put example here for like a long. I'll have to have a much tighter stop loss to actually get those 1 to 3s, especially in these zones that there's not much movement. Like okay, like say for right here, that of course you can have the stop loss on the low, which means that the risk reward is even going to be less. You know, so I think that's obviously that's the because what I do, I normally target the low. Like I target even less than the low. So even if they decide to try come here and break this low, a little bit, I can still be in the trade. And as you can see for this one, even as a 1.8. Now, of course, it gets there eventually, but I'm always trying to be out of these trades by the end of London session latest. I don't even want to be in there for that long. So even for this trade to have hit, it basically getting to the high of New York session and just about hitting TP if I was in that trade. So key things that I learned is stick to your strategy. If it doesn't go with your strategy, it doesn't matter how good it looks, just stick to your strategy, stick to what you know. And what I've learned now is like once you've gone with your strategy, once you've gone with what you see in the market, just stick with it. set and forget, let it do what it needs to do. As long as you're giving yourself enough room in the stop loss and enough win in the positives, then you can stay in the trade. But also sometimes you can cut your losses short as well. You don't always have to hit the stop loss. You don't always have to. If you see there's a strong reversal or there's a fair value gap on the higher time frame that you didn't see before, literally just leave the trade. If you're not confident enough in the trade, then it's probably not a trade that you should be in. So say for example, right here is a good example of that. Say for example, you're here for longs, maybe from here for some reason, right? You're in here for longs, and you're targeting, let's say, this higher zone. You're targeting this higher zone, right? But and your stop loss is here because you're trying to target the higher zone. There's the FVG here, and so most likely what the market's going to do is going to come and collect liquidity at this point, at this fair value gap, and then go up higher. But your ego is not going to let you leave the trade and you hit full SL rather than just waiting or cutting your loss short here. You can see it's bouncing and it's bouncing off here. It's not breaking here. It's bounced off here. It came up here again, bounced off, bounced off. It's not breaking. It clearly wants to go and get the liquidity before shooting back up. So that's where I had those issues before. Just literally sticking with the strategy and actually sticking to what I want to do, because that's the thing is, once you have like a one trade a day sort of system, is like you kind of feel like the rest of the day is just there. So like that's why I'm torn between having a one trade per day system or just having a two trade per day system but risk less. So risk 500 to make 1k, but I have two trades a day. So even if I don't make the first one, I make the second one. Um, but like I said, I think one trade a day is always going to be the best. Give yourself enough room, use a smaller lot size, let it go where you believe is going to go for the day, in terms of the bigger time frames as well. That's what I believe. So that's basically the overview of the week. Like I said, we were up at least 8k on the FTMO. That's back down to, like, I believe 99.5, which is not the best. But like I said, I don't feel bad about it because I've learned a lot and I've bulletproofed my strategy to a point now. I'm back tested my strategy to a point now that I know exactly what I'm looking for in the market. And I'm going to execute on that too. But also, even in terms of GBP USD, I've seen a lot of things on GBP USD that I didn't see before that I'm loving. Like, even in terms of session times, often London would pump prices before dumping at New York. Things like that. Of course, sometimes it does dump at London session, but a lot of the time it's just been pushing up our London sessions a lot of the time. But like I said, you can't really look at sessions, consistency as much. I try to sometimes, but it's not really the best thing to look at. It's just better to look at market structure. It's better to look at where liquidity is, where the fair value gaps are, and getting at the right time. Like you see right here, like look how many fair value gaps were created right here, and then move up from the 2nd of December. So if you're looking for sales here, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be scary because it's gonna tap into the fair value gap and then keep going up, as well as the same for the negative fair value gap, as you can see here. You had the fair value gap right here, big fair value gap at that. Tapped into it, started going low, and I look for maybe next week is gonna even go even further. Let me even see. This is in replay modes, but yeah, like I said, it's like I see even going further if it taps into the fair value gap again, maybe. What I've also been doing a lot as well, I don't want this video to be too crazy long, but what I've been doing also is using the fib retracement, as you can see right here, to then mark out premiums. So either discounts and premiums, all these things I knew of, but I never implemented until last week after those losses, because I now see the major importance of them. So like now you can see here, so there's actually even an extra fair value gap that I didn't even see before, fair value gap right here. So that might even make it end up bursting up for basically this week coming up as well. Because look, at the end of the day, it's like you want to make sure that you have the right setup, so you need to have the right sort of entries as well. Very, very key. So even like I said, for this week, it may just push up off this FVG, plus it's under the 50% range, so technically is at a premium at the moment in terms of the market overall too. So like I said, guys, honestly, it's becoming so much more clear for me. It's becoming so much more straightforward in terms of my risk to reward, in terms of what I'm looking for, in terms of not even over trading. When I did get to the 10k mark, a lot of those trades were like, there was a few that were like 1 to 4, but most of them are 1 to 2, but I did it 4 times in a row. boom, 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 1 to 2, 1 to 2, just hit that, boom, 2K, 2K, 2K. That was 8K right there, and that's it. That's all it takes. But a lot of the time, and I'm sure you watching the video, you might be the same, is you're looking for the 1 to 8, 1 to 9, 1 to 10s. You're looking for the bigger numbers to get you to the next level. But it's not always the case. Just look at what the market's showing you. Look at the highs and lows. Look for where they go and collect liquidity as well. Because as you can see right here, price tapped into this fair value gap, then shot back up right here. Look at the fair value gaps. It's very, very important. Look where they're going to collect liquidity. Look, and also you're not always going to be right 100% of the time. I've learned that too. Like, I always want to be right, naturally. As humans, we always want to be right, but it's not always going to be the case, right? It's not always going to be the case. You have to make sure that you're sure of your trade and it's actually within a range too. So say for example, we go back to this side, we see this fair value gap here and it taps into it. Often I would even look for like an entry right here as well now with a new system in the London session as well, which I know pumps quite a lot. It's created this fair value gap in the previous New York session. I know it's going to come up here, create a high in the Sydney session. Often in Tokyo session, it actually dumps quite a lot as well. So like I said, taps back into the fair value gap. That's your entry right here. You literally just target the highs. But like I said, I'm saying this now, not just for you guys, but for myself. Because it's easy to say it's gonna happen, but doing it is a different story, right? That's the whole key, because doing it is where it actually matters. And then even right here, the ratio, I don't know why it says like, okay, even right here, the ratio makes so much more sense. I don't know why the stop has gone. Even right here, the ratio makes so much more sense, and it's like you tap into the fair value gap, you enter right here. Even if I wouldn't say to be that much, but even if you're risking like a 1 to 2.5, that's boom, bang that, boom, trade easy. Even if it goes down here, don't even care about going up here. Even talking about the ranges, it's already in a below premium range right here. Of course, that's from yesterday, but if you were to use that, you would have created like a bigger range, which I'm gonna do too. So what I'm planning to do is go into like the 4 hour sort of time frames. Um, Go into the 4 hour time frames and create the ranges of the 4 hour time frames too. Because of course this is the premium of this range, but then I see another premium of the other range as well. So this is a premium of this range, but I see a potential premium of even this range from here to here, right here. So to calculating this premium might even be even more effective. So you see, okay, now is at 100% right now, of course, at the top of the high. It's come down. It has lots of fair value gaps as well. It may just want to go back down to touch this fair value gap and then shoot up, which it did. It touched into these fair value gap right here and kept going, kept going. So yeah, so that's basically what I've learned, in terms of last week. Like I said, it wasn't the best, but it was the most learning I've done in my trading journey so far, in terms of strategy, in terms of discipline, in terms of understand what I'm going to do. So honestly, I'm not upset about it. Of course, everyone wants to win. Majority of the time, everyone wants to be right. And as you can see, the market just opened for this week as well. Hopefully, it all goes well for you guys too. But yeah, guys, honestly, just literally stick to your strategy. Know exactly what you're looking for. Don't rush into it too much. Have a set sort of rules that you look for. Okay, is it in this range? Is it tapped into the fair value gap yet? Is it at the highest high or lowest low? Things that you look for. Write it down and then have like a checklist that you tick off. Okay, yes, 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 and then it will make more sense long term for you. Because like I said, me honestly, I always thought I was the scalper type of person. But the more I'm trading, the more I'm seeing I'm more like a not a full day, but a few hours. Let the trade run for a few hours, 2 3 hours, um, maybe even 1 hour. Just let the trade do its thing. Either hits your take profit or hits your stop loss, like that sort of thing. And I think that's my style of trading more, rather than the quick 5 minute, 30 minute. Because those type of traders, they're on the charts every like 24/7. I can't be on the charts 24/7 as well. So I think that might be the best. So look for the value of the day, know exactly where I'm going, have the right sort of targets, set the buy limits and sell limits where necessary, and just enter in when I believe is the best time. I think that might be the best option for me. The 30-minute time frame has been quite consistent with the back testing too, so I think I'm just gonna go off that. Use smaller lot sizes, target the same, but use smaller lot sizes. um, to say still hit the same targets of the 3K, 2K, whatever the number is. But from what I've seen, the 1 to 2 has been very consistent. I think I should just go like that. Hit the 1 to 2s consistently, even if I take 2 trades a day. Okay, 1 to 2, 2K. If I lose the next trade, then I go back to 1K, and that's my 1K day done. Move on with it. Like I said, because I'm still in the FTMO sort of funding phase and the evaluation phase, I don't know if I want to go into like the 1 to 3 just so it makes more sense. And then when I get funded, I scale it down to 1 to 2. So that's basically where my head is at the moment. Do I have that sort of risk reward as 1 to 3 for the funding phase, and then when I get funded, I go back to 1 to 2 because I know that's more consistent. Because at the end of the day, when it's the funding phase, technically it isn't your money until you're funded at all. So that's basically my dilemma between. So let me know down below what you guys think. Let me know if you guys think that's a good idea to have it as to either have it as 1 to 3 or 1 to 2 during the funded phase, or do you believe consistency is the key? Because also, if you can get funded with the 1 to 2, that means you can stay consistent also on the other side, once you are like a funded trader as well, because you don't want to actually make your mind think, okay, I was hitting a lot of 1 to 3s when I was in my evaluation. Let me try to do the same, which is the problem I had with my top step as well. That's the exact problem I had, and I went into drawdown on my top step, unfortunately, and the trailing loss limit is getting me too. So I have like about 5 trades until potentially losing that. So I don't want to lose that. That's why I'm just doing $100, up a day until I get out of that drawdown. And even after I'm out the drawdown is a trailing stop loss, so it's like, like I believe I have 1K drawdown available. So um, yeah, it's very interesting. But guys, as you can see, the market has started. The market is up and running already. Let's see what it does for this week. Wish you guys all the best luck, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.